Hi, my name is Steve Rabone and welcome to my presentation for the Positions and Practice module. Today I will give you a brief history of my journey into photography, my current practice and where I am heading in terms of both my photography and my future research project. From an early age, I have always been interested in art and loved to draw as a child. An early memory was visiting Birmingham's art gallery and being amazed by the quality of the paintings. I distinctly remember one particular painting by John Salt of a white Chevy red trailer and commenting that it looked just like a photograph. Little did I know at the time that John Salt was one of a group of artists specialising in the art of photorealism. However, the irony of this comment is not lost on me now, as I try to make many of my photographs actually look like paintings. Whilst I considered degrees in both graphic design and architecture, my late father was battling multiple sclerosis, and I decided to stay at home to help support my parents, and embarked on a career with a large banking institution. Fast forward 26 years, and I had the opportunity to take redundancy. Whilst I still needed a further full-time job, I was able to wrestle back my work-life balance and explore new hobbies. It was then that I discovered photography, and within days of picking up my first DSLR, I knew there was no going back. This change in my life was bookmarked perfectly by my Facebook post at the time. That split second when the shutter is pressed and the moment is frozen forever began to fascinate me. Taking photographs and capturing moments was what I wanted to do. Comparing photographers to movie directors and painters, John Berger summed this up for me with his quote that highlights the unique power a photograph has in capturing that moment. The only decision he can take is as regards the moment he chooses to isolate. This is further emphasised by this classic image and quote from Henri Cartier-Bresson. An early influence on me at this time was Steve McCurry. I was blown away by the colours and beauty in his photography, and in particular the famous image of an Afghan girl. But it also made me realise that Sharbat Gula's photograph was more than just a moment being captured. With my interest in photography increasing, I was like a kid in a sweet shop. I couldn't believe how many different genres there were, and I set about unwrapping every one of them. I was keen to try them all. I had some immediate success with my landscape photography, and would regularly have my images appearing behind various weather forecasters on the BBC. My search and acquisition of knowledge also took my practice in a new direction, as I was asked to share my experiences at a number of local colleges. I now teach vocational courses to new photographers during my spare time. Bringing us up to date, I recently completed a project, Beneath Our Feet. With strict social distancing rules in place, my studio was limited to a 10 to 15 minute walk from home, and as a result I started to explore the beauty of the flora and fauna beneath my feet. I used creative techniques of soft focus and depth of field, together with textures to enhance the aesthetics of these shots. This project also gave me a chance to research and appreciate the pictorialist movement and its early influence on photography. This style and approach to photography resonates with me, and I am keen to explore this movement in my research going forward. As Miles Davis is quoted, I feel I have reached the point where I need to move away from imitating and become more of an innovator with the photographs I am taking. I'm slowing down my output and focusing on the quality and aesthetics of each image. As Roland Barthes identified in his work Camera Lucida, so I want my work to have a powerful punctum that establishes a connection with the audience, that pricks and bruises them and leaves a lasting impression. I want my photographs to be seen as pieces of art that make the viewer stop, if only for a little longer than the time taken to get the shot, and really look at the image. The work of Brooke Shaden and her creative use of textures and surreal images appeal to me. Her daily goal to be constantly and creatively inspired is something that I empathise with and share as I keep searching for my next photograph. Whether it is an age thing or the natural evolution of my photography, but I am more than ever driven by a desire to create images that will last and may be a legacy of my work. As Susan Sontag states in her book on photography, so I want my images to outlast us all. In terms of the future development of my practice and my plans for my research project, I intend to focus in the urban surroundings of Birmingham. I love experimenting with long and multiple exposures and the sense of movement that these techniques can create. Peter Woolen discusses in his Fire and Ice article, photography is motionless and frozen compared to the light and shadow of film. I am keen to explore how different exposure settings can change this perspective for the viewer. I intend to look at how techniques used by the pictorialists can still be relevant in a digital age to bring beauty and tone to my images. I am currently inspired by the work of Stephanie Jung and Frank Michalowski, who both use multiple and long exposures in their work to create stunning images that have movement throughout them. Under the working title, A City in Motion, I intend to explore how through the creative use of shutter speeds, multiple exposure and intentional camera movement, I can capture the essence and pace of my local city. I will immerse myself in the city through street photography to capture movement in all its forms. Whilst the ultimate outlet for this work is to be finalised, I'm planning to link this back to my photography teaching and may well develop this into a book that gives the background to the key photographs taken and explains the various techniques involved with creating motion in photography. I will also consider creative ways of displaying these images that will enhance and immerse the viewer in this sense of movement. I hope this presentation has given you a sense of who I am, my practice to date, and the immediate plans I have going forward. Thank you for listening.